We're talking about
Don't have to
having
anymore.
dots, your I's dotted, your T's crossed as WIC contractors.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta fund everything in, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing all the stuff that's in it.
It's not, this took team to write.
But if you recall, remember on that report that we got from the health department and how many clients are on the WIC program? It was a lot.
Oh, yeah, there was.
Yes,
That surprised me.
absolutely.
More than, I thought that was the wrong number, but it wasn't.
The only, it is, the only complaint that I've heard about the WIC program is
What's that?
they don't want your money.
Yeah.
Lee,
The wave.
if we have people coming up and sitting in them chairs.
This is for the sheriff's report.
Hand my was
Oh, okay.
We gotta figure out another system.
Yeah.
I don't do video. Just
There's got to be something better than this.
Well, I think either we could
Maybe-
figure a way to get a really long cable and just stick it out of the middle here.
Well,
need to route it down and underneath.
I was gonna say, can't we get it under?
Tap it.
It's not quite long enough yet for that. It probably needs to be just lay it in the middle. That'll work. Yeah, just so people can see it. Thank you, Charlie. There you go. That's good. That'll be good. We're getting to it.
Let's call the meeting of the county commissioners for this May 23rd, Tuesday, May 23rd meeting. You may wonder why I always say that, but this is being streamed live, and if you are on a computer and you go on the site,
Turn its mic on.
this way you'll know that it is today's meeting that they're... Oh, I suppose I should turn my mic on. That'll help, won't it? So that the chairman turns his mic on or whatever. But anyway, it is Tuesday, May 23rd, and so when the live stream comes up, you'll know what day it is, and so on and so forth. The other thing is that if you have a cell phone, please silence it, turn it off. If you do get a call that you need to take, please step out in the rotunda and answer the call so you won't disturb the meeting.
I'd make a motion that we approve the agenda.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hatton to
Second.
approve the agenda as printed, and a second by Commissioner Van Duzen. Is there any additions or corrections? I will have and be calling for an executive session. It'll be a personnel issue, so we'll take that up when we get there. It's already on the agenda, but I just thought I'd announce that. Anything else?
So, Mr. Chairman, I accidentally labeled the stream the 22nd. I'll fix it after the meeting so that the file is labeled correctly, but it is the 23rd. So just so everybody knows that.
Oh, you got it on the 22nd, huh? It is the 23rd, though. All right. Okay, hearing the motion in a second, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Well, about the minutes of
Move to
the May
approve as
16th
mailed.
meeting. We have a motion by Hatton, a second by Gable. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. All right, let's go to work with some plat work, and we have Luke with us, Director of Planning and Zoning, and I think we have 4 of them or 5 of them? 5 of them to look at. Just for the information of the other commissioners at the Planning and Zoning meeting on Monday night, all of these were approved by the Planning and Zoning Board and recommended for passage here today. So you can have the floor, Luke, and the microphone is right here. So if you just pick it up and talk into the mic, then the radio will be able to pick it up better. Right here.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna pass these around, that handful of them. Maybe sign the folio for you. Same thing with this group. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. As Chairman had said, I've got 4 plats here for you. All heard at the Planning Commission meeting last Monday. The first plat is a plat of Waverly South Shore School Bus Barn addition to the town of Waverly and Waverly Township. This particular property, this is a 36,000 square foot property. I didn't have the plat drawing in there, but it gives you an idea as to where it is. It's just north of the school, Waverly South Shore School. As it sits now, it's a property just to the north being sold off. They're carving off, like I said, 36,000 square feet. It will require a conditional use permit before the bus barn can be issued. However, this will be a parcel that'll be a legal lot. So it was recommended for approval.
I'll make that motion. We approve that plat.
Good motion by Commissioner Hatton, second by
Second.
Waterman. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Next plat is the plat of Brunn's second subdivision I gotta get myself squared away. Brunn's second subdivision located in the northeast quarter of section 15, Township 116 North, Range 52. That's in Sheridan Township. That is in, it's a Meadow Lake subdivision is what we refer to it at the planning board, straight south of Walmart for all practical purposes. This is a replat of 3 portions of lots into 2 conforming lots is what's going on here. These portions were being sold to 2 individuals, and it was the recommendation that they make them into conforming lots. Otherwise, they'd have to do it on the back end. So recommended for approval at the last meeting as well.
Move to
Motion
approve.
by Waterman,
Second.
second by Van Duzen. Any discussion?
Luke, just a question,
Sure.
quick question. Is any of this in the flood zone?
Yes, all of it.
Okay.
All of it's in the floodplain. It is. It was actually mapped in the floodplain and shown in the floodplain. Subsequent flood studies have gone on to show that it could easily be taken out. However, there is one last step that has to be done at each time on each of the properties if they do so. So it's a place that we have to watch as we're issuing building permits.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Next plat is the plat of BZ Edition in the northeast quarter of Section 22 in the south flavor of Cransburg Township. This is straight south of the Tip Top in Cransburg, 3 miles, a little over 3 miles. Brian Zog platting off a portion from his dad's property just north of their farm. 5-acre parcel at the site of a farmstead as recommended by the Planning Commission and
Moved.
Board of Adjustment.
Move to approve.
Motion by Hatton, second by
Second.
Charlie Waterman. Any more discussion or any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, the fourth one is the plat of D&D Edition located in the northeast quarter of Section 32 in Sheridan Township. This is south of Watertown, 3 miles, and then back a mile east on 177th Street. The last mile of the county. It is it's a 6-acre parcel located in the northeast corner of that section. The property owners, again, using the farmstead exemption to create a 6-acre parcel, and then to retain building rights on the remaining 39 acres, and that is consistent with the board's variance that was issued for the farmstead exemption. they're platting this into Lot 1 and Lot 2. Each one is going to conform with the board's requirements.
Move to approve.
Motion by Hatton, second by Van Dusen. Any more discussion or any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, the motion carries.
Been
Thank
busy
you,
in,
Luke.
yeah, it's been busy in my district.
Can you see if that recorder is running?
The green light's on, so.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. Okay, thanks.
All right, let's go on to number 4, monthly reports, highway soup. Rick, and we have, so when you're up here, I think we have another one for you here, a little bit further down. Oh, yeah, 6, number 6 also.
5 and 6.
5 and 6, yeah.
I think I'm just going to go on to number 5,
All right.
included in my monthly
Okay,
report.
so we're on number 5 of the agenda items. Good.
Back in December of 16, sent in an application for 3 grants for bridge improvement grants. Notified April 27th that the county received those 3 grants in the amount of $165,200. The projects are to put a epoxy deck seal. The concrete on the top of these bridges is starting to spall or scale a little bit. So you put a black, and you've seen them on the interstate, that black epoxy and rock chip seal on it. And that's what the proposal is. Another thing I'm going to ask for at this time is authorization to sign an agreement with Ultig Consulting Engineers for these projects. I've been working with them up to this point, assessing the damage or the work that needs to be done on these bridges. Brad Stanger that works for him has been with the DOT or was with the DOT for years. He's very well educated in bridges and bridge conditions, and I'm asking for approval to sign an agreement to hire the Ultig. It's ULTEIG Engineers Incorporated is the firm he works for.
We can do this under one motion.
We should have 2 motions. What's
All
your
right.
first request?
Okay.
First,
Proceed with the grant?
correct, yes.
All right. Okay, the first motion then is to proceed with the grant.
I'll make
Is
that
there-
motion. I'll
We have a
second.
motion by Van Dusen, second by Gable. Any discussion?
Rick, just one quick question for you on the grant. Is the county, is that a matching grant?
Right,
or-
20%. The county's responsible for 20%. The consultant fee on this that I'm asking for approval on, the maximum amount on the consulting fee is $11,950.83. But the project itself is 20% match. And it may be higher than that because the grant dollars, it's estimated that the money we got will cover 80% of it, but that's not necessarily the case. If the bids come in a little higher than that, Cottington County's going to be responsible for the amount over that estimate. I'm hoping our estimates are real close, but
Yeah.
What was that number again? 11,000?
$11,950.83.
That's
That's
just
the
the,
83.
that's just the consulting though, correct?
Right, yeah, that's for the setting up the bid letting,
Right.
the design, the construction, the engineering, and so forth
Okay, so,
on all 3 of the bridges.
so construction, design and engineering.
And the total on the grant again was $165,200.
Correct.
Rick, on that $11,000 fee for the consulting, would that be 20% approximately cost to the
Well,
county also?
Not necessarily. That consultant fee the county will pay.
That's, so that's, I think your
Yeah.
question, is that separate from the grant? Okay, yeah.
Good questions. Anything else? Any other discussion? Let's see, I have a motion and a second.
To vote on proceeding with the grant award.
Correct.
And so far, that's the only motion we've gotten.
That's right.
That's the motion on the table.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, then let's go on with the awarding to the consultant. Is that the next motion?
Yes,
then?
I'm asking for a motion to
I'll make
approve me signing
Second that.
an agreement with the consultant.
And the motion was made by
I made the
Gable.
motion.
Second was by Hatton. Is there any discussion on that motion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, that motion carries. Thank you, Rick.
The next item, number 6, going on to that, I'll give you a little history on this bridge in Sheridan Township. Just a second, I'll hand out.
As a crow flies, where is it at?
That is 1 mile north of the county line on 177th Street on the Sioux River.
Okay, I know right where it's at. Thank you.
This bridge years ago was put on, it was eligible for replacement funding under the bridge replacement program, which is no longer in place. And since then, we did a master transportation plan for Cottington County. It was completed in 2014. And in that plan, this sheet where I have it highlighted there, it's Site 15. It describes a bridge on a street in Sheridan Township and shows the sufficiency rating is 54.8, which is eligible for replacement funding, and the traffic count is 73. When we did the master transportation plan, there's 3 consecutive bridges on 3 consecutive miles over the Sioux River. One of them is County Road 20, and the other 2 are township roads. During the study, it was recommended that the county might look at just letting this particular bridge deteriorate to the point of closure and closing it, and spending money on the other bridge on County Road 20. The estimated cost at that time for replacement of the bridge on 177th Street was about $600,000. I'm sure it's higher than that at this point. And this recommendation goes on to show that the cost of the traveling public is about $5,300 per year to have to drive around this 1 mile section. And like I say, as it played out, the recommendation during our traffic master plan was to let this deteriorate to the point and then close it. Since then, some of the residents have expressed concern and a request, a need that that bridge remain in the program and try to get it replaced. And it can be done. It can be put in the 5-year transportation plan, and to apply for and use big grant dollars for replacement of this bridge. It's not going to happen anytime in the near future. If it goes into the 5-year plan, all it will be at the end of the 5-year plan, and that will be just for the preliminary engineering. So I have no problem with it going back in while we look at it and put it on the program to apply for preliminary engineering, which would be in 2023 is about the time the preliminary engineering would start on it, and we can look at it between now and that time. I have no problem with that. I will say that there are a couple other bridges in Cottington County that need to go to the front of the list, and they're on Old 81 north of town, and they're going to need some work on them in the very near future. That'll be, in fact, when we do the bridge grant, preliminary engineering grant application this fall, that's going to be at the top of the list to do pre-engineering on those 2 bridges on Old 81 to the north of Watertown.
I would make that motion that we do put that back on the 5-year plan.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hatton, a second by
I'll second that.
Commissioner Gable. Any discussion? Any discussion?
Question, Rick. You mentioned $5,300 cost or estimated cost for going around this. Is it a mile, mile and a half?
It's 1 mile you have to go around.
1 mile you have to go around. What would be the estimated cost in today's dollars of replacement?
Approximately, just my estimate would be about $800,000 to replace the bridge.
With a $5,300 per year cost estimated cost to the residents.
Correct.
Thank you.
Also, I might add, the traffic count here shows 73 during our study in 2014. I'm not sure that that is accurate. I've been working on trying to get an accurate traffic count on that particular bridge, and our traffic counting equipment is so obsolete. I'm in the process right now of updating our traffic counters to get the stuff we've been using. We've inherited from the state DOT in the 1980s, and it's seen its better days.
Rick, that 73 traffic, is that in 24 hours, or what's the?
Yeah, per 24 hours.
24 hours,
That's
okay.
per month. No.
And
I knew it wasn't per month.
I actually think that's a high count.
Okay.
The time we did that, there was field work going on and so forth. I think that's a high count. But I want to update our traffic counting equipment. There's money in my equipment budget. I didn't have a line item budgeted for it, but there's money in the equipment budget. And the system I'm looking at, I can put a counter on all three of these roads with the bridges on them, get an accurate count of how many trucks, how many cars, and so forth, go over each one of these bridges and be able to come back and give you guys a lot better numbers on it, what's actually going over these bridges.
Mr. Chair, we do have some folks here that are directly affected by this. I don't know if you want to give them an opportunity to express why it's a hardship to them.
Certainly, you
If
sure
they
may.
want to, I guess.
Who do we have in the gallery here that would like to make any comment? Anyone? Anyone? Come on up, and you got to come up so you're on TV. That's all part of it, you know. Yeah. Smile. You need to tell us who you are and where you're at and where you live and so on.
Yeah, my name is Jim Scheck, and we operate Sioux River Dairy just directly to the east of this bridge. I'll just be brief and run over a couple things here and not take a bunch of time. But basically operate about 800 acres west and south, and with the need to go across that bridge, corn, soybeans, alfalfa. So it's like Rick said, it's 1 mile up, 1 mile back. If you do that round trip, it's 4 miles per round trip. When we're doing silage, that can be 450 loads. And, you know, you got spring tillage, fall tillage, planting, spraying, scouting, harvesting, manure application. So there's a lot of trips across this bridge that we would need to go around. Other considerations would be, I worry about emergency services. A lot of times when there's a call put in, and I don't know how this all works exactly, but you know, if they put in their GPS, they may end up to a dead end. There's 10 residences off of 177th Street that, 6 of them are associated with our operation, and then the other ones. So I'm concerned about that also. School bus uses it, postal service uses it, and that bridge, potentially, it's been brought up, it possibly holds back water in the flood years. So they're just kind of some considerations and highlights and stuff that would affect us. I don't know if Nathan wants to say anything.
Nathan Rankling, Valley View Farms. I live just east of Jim Scheck there. And, along the same concerns, it seems like, Rick, you say it was $5,300 per customer or per residential there, but by the time we add our extra mileage, silage, shopping, and all that, we have to pay someone to drive the extra mile there, the extra mile over, the extra mile back. So in the long run, it develops a hardship on us. So, but I go along with on a daily basis, you'll see the Postal Service drive down the road. I've seen emergency services drive down that road. School buses go down that road. So, it's a pretty well-used road. So I just like you guys to take consideration putting it on the plan to have it looked at and fixed.
If my memory serves me right, that's relatively narrow and it has rails on it too, doesn't it? Yeah. And any trouble getting over it with machinery, bigger machinery, or can you get it high enough so you can go over the rails?
Well, there's some things you can't.
Yeah.
That we go around, it's a combine with a head or something.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely, it would be a lot worse if there was no bridge there at all, you
Yeah.
know. And now that it's been degraded down to, we've got ton limits on it already. So we're kind of limited at this point even, you know, you can use car traffic, but.
Well, in saying that, my thought was, is this a situation where we should consider culverts?
It's probably too big.
No,
Culverts.
the flow capacity, this, as it was stated earlier, that it does cause some ice jamming problems and does cause backup water problems into the city of Watertown. Even with the bridge that's there in place now, we've had to have a excavator on it poking ice through it to keep it from backing up water. So culverts just wouldn't work in this location.
Mr. Chairman, I had a couple questions, if I may.
Yep.
So what would be for $800,000, what would be the life of that bridge? How many years roughly?
They're building them, calling them 75-year bridges now.
Okay. And then is there any, trying to remember this, but is there any township role in paying for this at all?
No, this is a
bridge.
classified a bridge after it's a 20-foot opening. It's a bridge and the county's entire responsibility for it.
Okay. And then last question, you said the traffic counters, that should give us a really good feel for over time.
And it will give you an accurate count. Nathan mentioned, though, that, you know, if I have it out there and they're not cutting silage or harvesting or whatever, you're going to get a low count. If I have it out there when they're doing this, you're going to have an extremely high count. So you have to do an average.
Yeah, okay.
And now with the limitations on it, there, you know, that will be a different number also because there's.
Yeah, their big loads are going to have to go around it the way it is now. It's restricted on what they can take across it.
Okay, any more questions? Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Is there anyone else that wish to share with us? You? Yes? No? I see a head shaking no back there. Oh, well, okay. He just wanted to get on TV, that's all. Please tell us who you are.
Tom Reichling, I live there in the area and that stuff. You said the culverts won't work, but 3 miles north, there is culverts that is on the township. Spillway.
We don't want county isn't going to get into spillways.
Okay. That's why there could be one there and not one there, I guess, and that stuff. And another problem is, for us to go south, we have to go 4 miles south to get to the east side or west side of the river. That's the closest bridge. Used to be Highway 22, but Hamlin County did replace a bridge last year. But it's 4 miles south, and that's why it's such a pain for us to get around and that stuff, because we farm southeast or southwest of the river. That's all I had to say.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
And he is correct on the Sioux River to the north. There is a location with a spillway that has a concrete box culvert in it, and it has caused a lot of grief. I wouldn't recommend, the county does not have any spillways on any of their roads, and I wouldn't recommend the county go on a spillway route. There's liability issues, huge liability issues, and I would just not recommend a spillway on the county system.
All right. Where are we at? Do we have a motion?
Motion and a second.
Would you read that motion back?
To add this bridge back onto the county 5-year plan.
All right. Any more discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Rick, while you're here, you want to talk about traffic count equipment? You wanted our blessings to start pricing some of that stuff, and
I've already got prices. I've already went and looked at surrounding counties that have this type of equipment. It's about a little under $5,000 to get 4 traffic counters, all the software and everything to set it up. And, like I said, this is the equipment that I've been wishing for a long time. You can put it out. You can get the speed of the vehicles. You can get the type of the vehicles, the number of axles, and classification of the vehicle, plus an exact time, of when they're using the road and so forth. Something that Cottington County has never had, but I think it's time we get it.
Rick, I have a question. On the Bureau Road, they have some sort of apparatus there that is monitoring the speed limits. Is that something that could also have a traffic count on that one or not?
No, that's just a radar speed.
It's a speed
thing.
trailer.
Yeah, speed trailer.
Somebody asked that question, and I said, well, I'll find out. So.
I have a question on it, too. Somebody asked me if there was a camera in there.
Yes.
I said yes. No.
This is to replace that equipment that's about 30-some years old that we got from the state. And
Yeah, we've got it
Can't
30
get
years.
pieces anymore for?
No, it's completely obsolete. We're having to manufacture the tapes. It prints from a tape, and we're having to manufacture the cartridges for that, where this new stuff it's all digital. You hook it up to the computer, and it downloads all the information. You can make reports, look at everything on it, print out what you want in tables or whatever. I think it's time the county gets it.
Now that we have you on the hot seat, Rick, I'm sorry, but let's talk a little bit about 212 construction going east. And I had a chance last night to visit with a family from Kranzberg and an elderly couple. And they said when they leave home or when they get to Watertown, they want to make sure their gas tank is full because they don't know where they're going to have to go to get back to Kranzberg. And they said they used to go out the Bureau Road, go the Bemis Road, and then come in by the Tip Top, but you can't get across there now. And they were really good. I mean, they could see the good road in the future, but the one request that they had was that when they're going to close off some of these crossings, if there was some way they would and could notify the local traffic, because they said they had gone home and they got up to the Tip Top and they couldn't get across there, so then they had to go back and go a mile east to get into Kranzberg. And they said that's probably their only complaint, but they said from now on they're going to go north and come in on the parade route, I call it. They said that's probably the safest because they said the workers out there are helpful. They see if you're stranded. They'll tell you where they've put gravel over the poured concrete so you can get over. But it was a good discussion. But if someone had to get home in a hurry or get to town, they might be in trouble.
Yeah, it is. In fact, the motor grader operator Monday morning to get to his shop in Kranzberg, he had to go to Goodwin to get to Kranzberg. He lives just south of Kranzberg, and he did the same thing. He drove up to the Tip Top, and the road's closed. And they have been pretty good putting a barricade that says road closed ahead 1 mile south of 212 whenever they close that road, so you can't get across it. They've been keeping up on that. But as far as I'm not aware of any public service messages that they've been putting out. I think the DOT, maybe I can visit with them and ask them if they've considered putting out a public service message.
The other question that I asked them is how about the truck traffic on the county roads now, on the Bureau Road and on the Bemis Road? And they said they thought that there was more truck traffic. But I said, is it local or is it commercial? And they said, well, now that you asked that question, it might be local.
It is. I've driven it nearly every day, and I don't see an increase in over-the-road trucks. The semis I do see are cattle trucks, grain trucks, trucks that would be there anyway in most cases. And the road is getting very heavily patrolled. A lot of times I see more troopers and deputies on the road than I do trucks. I mean, they're watching it very closely and doing a good job.
Our roads holding up?
Yes.
Our county roads, they're holding up so far, okay?
Yep. Like I said, I don't see any increase in heavy traffic on them. There's a lot more cars, I guarantee you that. But as far as over-the-road trucks, I just don't see it.
I would have to add, I did go to that public meeting over in Goodwin when they were going to kick this all off, And every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock a.m., the head guy holds a meeting at the site in a trailer. So
Right.
if anyone has concerns, they're welcome to come at that time and let him know. So
And
I do have a phone number also. So.
Yeah, the turnout at those meetings, it's just the contractors and subcontractors. I've looked at the roll call on them meetings too. There are very, very few locals. I guess there was 2 on one sheet. I seen 2 locals that had a concern they were going to be moving cattle that were in one of the meetings. But
They have been good, like out my way, just to the west of me. When it gets to, they did it fairly soon. They will put gravel over a few of those intersections so you could get across them. So.
And the tough thing about doing the gravel crossings east of Watertown is all the section lines coming up to Highway 212 is a correction. So they don't line up with the road straight north.
Right.
They're like 1/8 of a mile apart. So it makes it difficult as far as getting getting people across the new concrete.
The other thing they were worried about is the 4th of July parade in Kranzberg. They said, is this thing going to get done by then? And I said, well, in the proposal, they said it would, but you know how, are there any contractors sitting out here? They always say, it should be done by the 4th, but they didn't say what year.
That was in the contract, but you know, it's also in the contract. There's a completion date. If you get rain or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, things can happen. But it is in the contract that the highway between Watertown and Kranzberg has to be open for the 4th of July.
They might have to move that 4th of July parade to Rowville or something. I don't know.
They're probably going at least 3/4 of a mile a day when they have good weather.
They're past. Yesterday, I think they shut down because of the little bit of rain. They started covering up the concrete they had out, but they are to the east side of Kranzberg already. So
It always has to get worse before it can get better, right?
That's right.
Even with the rain that we had yesterday, they did put in 12.5 hours.
yeah, I know it. They're working at it.
Anything else for Rick? Thank you.
Oh, I just might.
Go ahead.
Excuse me. One more thing. Visited with Brenda yesterday. We do have some pretty muddy roads. We've been pulling shoulders, and that road we spoke of, I looked at it, and that's what it is. We had pulled some of the material from the shoulders back up in the middle of the road to shape it so it sheds water.
Okay.
And of course, we got rain on it. That's why it's muddy. And we do have several miles of road that are in that similar condition. It's just part of the process.
So once it all dries out, it should be.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if needed after it dries out, then we'll put some gravel on it. But,
Okay,
and that's
so-
the same with all of them. When we
Right.
pull shoulders like that, typically we have to come back and put some gravel on them in spots. But
Okay. So I'll let that resident know that then.
Anything else?
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Kind of put you on overload, but. All right, emergency management, Jim. Good morning, Jim. And we have number 7, I think, relates to Jim also, and so we'll.
And number 7 should also include action to approve a contract associated with that.
Yeah.
So it's a resolution and a contract.
I feel like a star. Do you want me to sing a song to you before
Yeah.
I start? Or?
Yeah. Just don't get jiving too much.
Okay, all right. Well, I wouldn't want to do that to you. It'd be ugly. Just a few things this morning with my monthly report. On April 30th, I've submitted a travel request. The National Weather Service out of Aberdeen is putting together an advanced weather spotter training class for emergency managers and other trained weather spotters. That'll be up in Aberdeen.
That was
April
May 30th, though.
or
right?
May?
May 30th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
May 30th, excuse me.
Okay.
And I plan on going up to that training if my travel request is approved. On June 5th, we'll be having our next pod meeting, that pointed dispensing plan meeting. And as I've talked to you about before, we're working on doing a flu shot clinic this fall for school-aged children within the county. On June 6th is our next LAPC meeting for those members that attend the LAPC meetings. And again, that'll be on June 6th. On Wednesday, June 7th, I've got a Watertown Fire Department Advisory Committee meeting that I'll be attending over at Fire Station number 1. I'm one of the members on their advisory committee. And June 8th, we've got our next for July fireworks meeting that I'll be attending out at the Redland Arts Center. That starts at 2 o'clock at the Redland Arts Center. So if you have any questions regarding the fireworks that were displayed that we're planning for July, please contact me and I'll take it to the meeting.
That's going to be on July 1st, correct?
That's correct. It's going to be on the Saturday before the 4th.
Okay.
You got a busy week.
That's a busy week there. Just some informational items as far as state emergency management. Jason Forrest, our state emergency management coordinator that lived in Aberdeen, has resigned. His last day of work with the state was his last Wednesday, and the state is in the process of advertising and hiring a replacement for Jason. That will probably be 6 or 8 weeks down the road before they get that person in the position up there in Aberdeen. Yesterday, we received an email from State Emergency Management. I sent a copy over to Cindy. But our funding for our state and local agreement, the funding that the county gets for emergency management has been delayed. And the main reason for this delay is that the federal government has been passing these stopgap budget appropriations just to keep the government going until they get a final budget passed. On May 5th, they did get that budget approved for the rest of the year, so we'll be able to find out here shortly, when we're going to be getting our funding through that EMPG program. The EMPG is the Emergency Management Performance Grant that the federal government puts out to all the states for the support of emergency operations. And along that line also, our Homeland Security grant that we had our regional meeting for here probably 2 months ago now. We still haven't got a grant award from the feds and from the state. So those projects that that we identified that we would like to get funding for, we still do not have notification that the funding is there. I'll keep you updated on that and let you know when that funding notification is made from the state. And the last thing I have for you this morning is we're working on setting up ICS 300 and ICS 400 classes for this winter. The ICS 300 class would be in November, and the ICS 400 class is in December. We've identified some dates, but we still do not have word back from the state as far as the instructors, whether the dates that we have identified would work for the instructors that they'll bring in for those classes. But for the departments that have some members that may need this ICS 300 and 400 training, we are working on getting that in here for this winter. And that's all I've got for monthly report, unless there's any questions on anything I've covered here.
Jim, during the open, I understand we're going to have some individual here in discussion about fireworks, and as long as you are involved a little bit in fireworks, you want to hang around and contribute, or do you have to go?
I've got, I'm supposed to be out at the Extension Center at 10 o'clock to do some inventory.
We'll be out here by then. No,
okay.
All right. Then let's go to number 7, as long as you're here.
Okay.
And that's action to review and approve a resolution requesting rangeland fire assistance and appointing points of contact. And Jim and I had a chance to visit over this the other day, but this is in your packet. It's at South Dakota Department of Agriculture, Wildland Fire. And just, can you give me the...
I'll give you the short on it. This is an ongoing process that they've had. We've had this agreement in place in the past, and this is just a renewal of the agreement that we've had in the past. And basically what it is, if there's a large fire, and we don't see that many large fires East River, but West River and the open areas where we see these large fires, and the local authorities have to call in to the state for additional resources. There's a price tag that comes with that, and you know the price tag gets pretty expensive. So what the state does is they put out this agreement, and then there's only certain individuals from each county that are identified that can request these resources, with the understanding that when you request them, you know you're going to have to pay for the resources. So I believe on this request, we've noted my name, Commission Chairman Myron Johnson, and then my assistant Sherry Howell as the three individuals from Cottington County that could request additional state resources to help fight a fire. So that kind of explains the process there. Here east of the river, we're quite fortunate in the fact that we have a lot of farmers, and we have a lot of large farm machinery that we call upon that help fight when we have a rangeland fire. West River, there's less farm ground, there's more open prairie, and they have a tendency that they have bigger fires than what we do in this area. Like I said, we're fortunate to have our farm community that is willing to jump in and help us knock down these fires before they do get very large.
I'll make a motion to go.
We have a motion by Gable, second by Van Duzen. Any more discussion?
This resolution, while appointing the assistance authorization list, it also appoints the emergency management director as the rural fire coordinator. So it takes care of two of the requirements.
Correct?
That's my motion.
That's correct.
Who is the motion and the second?
The motion was by Lee, second by Van Duzen.
Okay.
Good discussion. Anything else?
Is that a yearly deal that we do, Jim, then, or is it?
I think it's ongoing, and I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago,
Okay.
Commissioner, the last time that we updated the list there.
All right. Anything else? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And
Thank you,
then we
Jim.
need action to authorize the chairman to sign the agreement.
Oh,
I'll make that motion.
we have a motion by Hatton, a second by Lee. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, let's go to the sheriff. Patiently waiting there. He's had a big week, too.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Brad.
Good.
Try to project for you here.
We're going to get to see some sun hopefully later today, so that would be good.
Hopefully.
Thanks.
That's what Brenda told me anyway, so hopefully she's right.
All right, we'll get started.
Grab the mic.
It's on.
It's
Yeah.
on, ready to go. All right, we'll start with the bank balance. That's the first sheet you guys have there. So our bank balance at end of March was $11,243.25. Then if you want to jump down, there was no more receipts not deposited until April 2017. So jump down to the April. Sheriff's fees collected, not dispersed, $10,403.75. And then we collected $250 in warrant fees for a total of $10,653.75. And if you want to go ahead and jump to the next page, calls, what the deputies responded to. We had 8 accident calls that were responded to. 81 warrants were served. 287 civil papers served. And we did 3,826 miles in transports. A little higher than March. If you want to jump down just a little bit more there, Lee. All right, we'll talk about some jail population a little bit here. Our average daily population for April was 87. If you look at March, it was a little bit higher than March. March was 83.42. If you jump down to the next one there, our high average daily population was 94, and that was on April 19th, our low average daily population was 80, and that was on April 29th. We had 39 people participating on the Scram bracelet. We had 42 people on the PBTs, on the 24/7 program, twice daily PBTs. We had 43 people, twice weekly UAs. You can see that number's up quite a bit from March as well, from 29 to 43 for April. And we had 2 people participating on the Sweat Patch, and we had 227 total bookings for the month of April. If you want to jump on down to the fees collected here for the jail. All right, on the bottom there, we collected $9,320.45 in out-of-county contracts. We collected $2,940 in work release fees. We collected $3,927 in 24/7 fees, and $5,650 for Scram fees. All right.
Good. Thank you. This makes it really easy to follow.
To see the charts there, you can kind of follow along with that.
And then you can go back to the last month or 2 months or 6 months.
Yeah, that's really nice
what's
having the whole last year available right there. Just have a couple things I wanted to touch base on. Just let you guys know, May 3rd, I was requested by Lake County Sheriff's Office to come down and respond to assist. They had a deputy that was shot down there on an incident. They found the guy, and they were requesting an armored vehicle and some assistance. So myself and a handful of my guys, we brought our armored vehicle down there and assisted with the operations of that call. We ended up finding the guy, and the guy was taken in under arrest without any further incident. So we also have our firearms qualifications all completed for the spring fall, and that's about the end of the monthly for me, I guess.
Brad, we had, and maybe you were going to bring this up, but we had some tours over the past week of the jail. How did that go?
Yes, we had a really good turnout with our jail tours. I think we had about 77 people show up for our tours.
The difference between the dark green line and the light green column. So the dark green is your ADP, so your average jail population, and you can see across this span of time that those alternatives, those 24/7 alternatives, are always higher than the number incarcerated. So without those alternatives, we'd have to incarcerate even more. So
just doing some quick math, if you were to add up all those
132.
132, there you go, 132 people. If you were to add up all those,
That was quick, wasn't it?
that is quick. Everybody that's on the 24/7 program, so 132 people that are potentially that would be in our facility that are on that alternative program. So,
check my math on that.
Any other questions for Brad?
Could we address number 10 while Brad's here? He's the one who kind of wants to update this permit, and then I think Mr. Alama wants to address the board regarding this also.
Sure.
Yep, I've got a copy already, and I had given them copies already also, so they should have it.
you should have a copy then.
Okay.
If you don't, we have another copy there. It's been a while since we've updated our permit for discharging fireworks in the county. I went through and I did some checking on the state law, and I just did some checking on what requirements would be needed for, like the 1.3G display fireworks, what kind of licensures you would need and whatnot. So we did some updating on this. The old permit didn't have all that information that we'd like to have on there. So with this new permit, we just made us a couple little changes. If you guys see anything you guys would like to add to it, please let me know. But like show sponsor, who's supplying the fireworks, if it's display fireworks or if it's consumer fireworks, down the bottom here a little bit. Description of discharge, how long it's going to be. Those are all added in there. The contact number for the people that are going to be shooting off the fireworks. And then if you kind of go down to the middle there where it says type of fireworks, you got 1.4G or 1.3G, consumer fireworks or display fireworks. If you click the display fireworks there of 1.3G, those are ones you would need an ATF type license or an employee possessor number using somebody else's ATF license. So what I'm requesting is to use this form. If someone is using a display fireworks, they can show a copy of their permit that they actually have that to discharge these fireworks. So I kind of added that in there. If they have it, they can attach that copy right to the fireworks permit here. The rest of the process would be the same thing. It would go to the fire departments, get approval, come through my office. We would sign off on it, and then it would come up here to the board. And you guys would sign off on it. So just a couple little tweaks. I did work with. I talked to Lou's Fireworks. I caught him one day, Dan, and he just mentioned that this would work for him. That it should work for people that are selling fireworks. It's not too much of a change, but it's enough to help with the county's liability, make sure that the proper people have the proper licensing to discharge.
Is there any
Chairman?
questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just a quick question here. The person that would have the ATF license, would they have to be present at the fireworks are, I don't know, shot off?
Well, either the person with the license or a person with an employee possessor number. That would be somebody that would be working under that person with their license.
Question would be is if I want to buy some firecrackers or some fireworks and shoot them off on the 3rd or the 2nd or 4th of July, I don't need a permit yet, do I?
Nope. There's June. I may have the dates wrong.
28th, I
June
think.
28th to the 5th. June 27th.
Seventh? Okay.
All right. Mike's got that. And then I think on January 1st, was it December 20th?
Yeah.
December 28th to January 1st. I know that's the other two. Those are the 2 times of the year that you can legally shoot them off without a permit.
Anybody could fire them off. I'm going to go outside of our realm here. Mike, have you seen this? Could you live with this?
I have. I did fill one out.
He actually filled out this exact same copy.
Yeah, and it is on the agenda for June 6th.
And you're on the agenda for June 6th.
But
The only thing I was confused about was at the top to show sponsor. I assume that would be the person requesting, or not the person requesting. I'd be the one requesting to do the shoot, but for what purpose? Or if it was Dakota Body 20-year anniversary, or if it was a private residence that's having a wedding or something of that nature. That's what I thought the show sponsor was. So when I filled mine out, I put
What it was for.
who was hiring me to do the shoot.
Yeah.
So are we all right with this? Do we want to approve this now, or do we want to wait till after June 1st till we have some more discussion, or what's the wishes of the commission?
Looks good. I think we'd pass it right now.
There we have is that a motion?
I would make that a
All
motion.
right.
I did have one thing I wanted to add to it. That was part of what I was glad was here.
Can we have him come up here?
Yep,
Yeah,
come up
come
and
on
use
up
the
here,
mic,
yes.
please.
I'll second his motion then for
Okay.
Tell us who
discussion.
you are.
So I have a motion and a second. Now
Michael
discussion.
We have a
Alama,
second.
Big Shots Fireworks Incorporated.
Excuse me, I didn't catch that. Say that again.
Michael Alama, Big Shots Fireworks Incorporated. My main purpose for being here, my request is, it's a kind of a lengthy process if you don't catch the times exactly right to be able to come in front of the board. And for example, the application that I had just recently filled out, which I ultimately filled out on Monday morning, ran it over to Chip, and then I know he brought it over to the sheriff's office and such. I was contacted on Thursday to do this fireworks shoot on June 10th. I know the board meets on June 6th, but of course this event, it's a fundraiser benefit for PTSD. They would like to obviously advertise that they're going to have fireworks at the event because that will draw more people. That would mean more funds for the cause and stuff. My situation that I'm in right now is I make application to this. I don't get to be heard until June 6th, which literally gives them no time. I realize that's really not your problem. My main focus of coming here today was to explain how the city operates, and maybe the county would consider doing something very similar. The way the city operates is you fill out the application with very similar information that is what is on your guys' one that is proposed to be approved today. At that point, I would receive a copy of that. I would fill it out. I would take it to the fire department. Chip usually does most of that work. Once Chip signs off on it, I kind of call it the golden seal, because if he signs off on it, then the police department, the police chief signs off on it, then the mayor signs off on it, and I'm issued the permit. There's no going in front of the board or anything else to get approval. I think that the city is kind of on the basis right now that if Chip feels it's safe and done in an appropriate way and the right people are doing it, that it's safe and that he's okay with signing off on it, saying that he approves of this event happening. The police chief and the mayor just follow in suit typically. I've yet to run across it any differently. So I'd be interested in trying to get something of the same nature in the county, where if I take it to the fire department first, if Chip signs off on it, he likes it. Take it to the sheriff, he signs off on it, he likes it. That maybe somebody on the council here could, one of the commissioners or the head of the commissioners or something, that would be able to just sign off on it without having to set it on the agenda, meet, and go through all that.
Okay. All right. We have a motion on the floor, though. Any more discussion? Any comments on the motion? Seeing none?
Yeah, it's on this.
Yep, motion is on this form right here. Yep, right here. Anything else? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Then we'll, June 6th, we would have you on the agenda. So if you could come back and we'll review this at that time and go from there, all right?
Okay. All right. One question. Is there ever a time where one is turned down? I know I'm going to be asked this question.
I've probably been in the thorn in a lot of people's side, because I always am concerned about the livestock producers out there and where the fireworks is fired off. That's always a concern of mine, but my concern is notifying the local neighbors. Let them know that you're going to fire off, and generally if they know about it, the livestock, they can be confined or they can be watched a little bit careful. The other thing, of course, is fire. That's a big thing, really. You know, if we have a burn ban on, we don't like fireworks. And
Right.
I think that's just common sense.
Absolutely.
So I think, Mr. Chair, if I may, your concern, Mike, is that this is coming back to the commission just 4 days before the event. So you need to know whether or not this is going to be a go. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what your concern is.
That is my concern at this particular time and moment.
Prior history, no permit has ever been denied.
Okay.
Not to say that it couldn't happen, but that's the prior history.
And just to, Mr. Chairman, just to comment on your request, I think that you're talking about a change to our ordinance, so that's something that's going to take a bit longer to do that. So, but it's something
Yeah,
we
the
can
ordinance calls for
definitely think about
approval
it.
by the county commissioners, so any
Yes.
change, that would
Yeah.
be
That
talking to the
process.
state's attorney and a process, okay.
And then I'll make do I need to make application then to be on the June 6th, or that will
That's automatic with your application, you're on.
Okay. Sounds good. And then for the request to make the change in the ordinance, would that be on there as well then?
It is on there if you want to discuss it again, yeah.
I guess I would like to get it,
Sure.
discuss so we could take action if they felt it was right.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
It's just,
All right, thank you.
Get it on there. Thanks, Mike.
Mike.
thanks.
Anything else, Brad?
I think I'm good.
Anything else? Any questions for Brad? Seeing none, thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Have a good day. We do have Dr. Sherman here, and I did promise him executive session at 10, but we only have one more department and one more item, if it's all right. And I don't think we could, Steve, will move him along a little bit quicker, the approval for the West Nile contract. And everything after that, I think, is in-house.
I'm coming to the board for approval for the apply for the South Dakota West Nile grant for the amount of $5,000. This grant and so that is to help supplement the chemical cost of the adulticide and also to cover costs for doing mosquito surveillances. That's probably where the majority of it goes, is the surveillances.
I'll make a motion that
We have a
approve
motion by
that.
Commissioner Hatton.
Second.
Second by Van Dusen. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you, Steve. I told you it would be quick. So at this time, I did indicate to the folks from HSA that we would try to get them in at 10 o'clock. They have another item on their schedule. So I'd entertain a motion to go into
I'll make
executive
that
session.
motion that we go into executive
We
session.
have a motion by Commissioner Hatton, a second by
I'll second that.
Gable.
This is on personnel
And
issues?
it's all on personnel, yeah.
Okay.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Pose same sign. Now, for the press, if you wish to return, we do have some items, as you note, on the agenda that we need to take care of. Approval of the WIC contract, claims, payments, and so on, and those would be the items that we take action on. So if you wish to just hang in there, we'll make it as quickly as we possibly can. Thank you. We need to turn off our mics.
Brad, stay in on this?
Yes, I have to.